Welcome back. Cardano is flashing a potential major breakout, a bull indicator, but there is caution advised in this trade, in this trend, especially for Cardano, but not just for Cardano. We're also seeing XRP and Solana breaking 60-day volatility over 100%. So we're going to be discussing this among many other topics in this story and in this video, including Bitcoin and Ethereum potentially reaching a new bottom. Is it up from here? Well, we're also hearing about potentially Gemini Crypto Exchange IPOing. Bitfarms is chosen new ETFs for crypto. The SEC delays some. And Starknet is going to be unifying Bitcoin and Ethereum by settling on both. We have a lot to discuss in today's video, a lot of metrics, a lot of data, and a lot of cryptocurrencies to cover. So make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Give the video a free thumbs up. I upload as much as possible to bring you the latest happening in the financial world. We are going to be starting right here, though, in today's video with the CPI, or the inflation number. Now, especially with the volatile markets that we are seeing, understanding where the inflation is, potentially what this means for the future of the markets, and also understanding the 10-year yield and the Dixie, which have seen significant drops recently. Now, we're going to be hearing from the Federal Reserve about 1 week after I record this video about whether they're going to or not lower interest rates. Now, I don't necessarily think it's important what they do at this meeting. I think it's more important what their forward guidance is, what they say about what they're going to be doing in the future, especially when it comes to rate drops or hikes or keeping things the same. But anyway, the inflation number that was released in March for February, because remember there's 1 month delay, was an overall 2.8% inflation number, which is much lower than where we were. But keep in mind, this means that every month we're still inflating. The 1 month trend was 0.2% inflation, which is lower than what we've been seeing more recently since the middle to end of last year. So inflation is coming down, but is it coming down enough for the Federal Reserve to take enough action? Remember, their target range is 2%. Now, we're in the 2% range, but we're in the high 2% range. And we've been higher than 2% for quite a while now. So kind of seeing this, I think what the Federal Reserve wants to see is under 1% for a little bit of time, and then, or sorry, under 2% for a little bit of time, maybe 1 or 2 months. Whether we're going to get there or not, I don't know. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, we could still trade the market that's in front of us, not the market that we want. And that brings us to XRP and Solana seeing 60-day volatility break 100%. And Cardano is in here as well. So in a new post, an analytics firm, Kaiko, and we're going to go to this report in a minute, shared how the 60-day realized volatility has changed recently for various top coins. The realized volatility refers to an indicator that basically tells us how much an asset's price fluctuation has been given during a window of time. In this context, the period of relevance is 60 days. In this chart that was shared by the analytics firm Kaiko, it shows the trend in the realized volatility for 5 top digital assets, including Bitcoin, XRP, Solana, Dogecoin, and Cardano. And you can see here on the 60-day volatility chart, we had some volatility right after the elections, and then we had a lot more volatility change when it came to the U.S. Crypto Reserve announcement. Now, sorry about that. I had to take a drink of water. But after the Crypto Reserve announcement, whether it actually occurred or not, there was speculation based on the announcement from the president. And you can see that the 60-day volatility basically went over 100% for Cardano. We're going to get back to that in just a minute. XRP, Solana, and Dogecoin approaching 100%, but not there just yet. And Bitcoin is only about 50% volatility. It's a much larger coin, much higher market cap, much harder to kind of make larger swings in the volatility. That's why you're really only seeing the altcoins. But you can see here this large jump right here. This is the Cardano ADA coin. And so the Cardano's coin has increased significantly more than the rest of the cryptos here when it comes to this 60-day volatility. Now, this could be a bullish indicator or bearish, depending on the way that you look at it. Now, we're going to be talking and deep diving a little bit more into Cardano specifically in just a few minutes. But before we go there, this is the actual tweet. It says, altcoins realized volatility surge in March, with ADA reaching an all-time high of 150%. On the 60-day volatility, and Solana and XRP passing 100% volatility. While Bitcoin's volatility has also increased, it remains relatively at 50%. That's much lower, still below historical peaks. But what else is going on in the markets? Again, I'm coming back to Cardano in just a few minutes here. But before we go there, again, Bloomberg is reporting Winklevoss twins Gemini files confidentiality confidentially for an IPO. Now, we've been hearing about this for a while, but US-based crypto exchange Gemini has reportedly made progress towards going public by confidentially filing for an IPO, according to people familiar with the matter who asked not to be identified. Cited by Bloomberg, said that Gemini collaborates with Goldman Sachs and Citigroup on the offering, with the crypto exchange and custodian aiming to go public as soon as 2025, which we are in 2025. The listing would be preceded by closing of a US SEC investigation into its operations that just ended. And so what does this mean for crypto? Well, when Coinbase went public back in 2021, this was around the time they made the announcement that they were going to go public, and then they went public later in the year, I think like May or June or something like that. And typically what you see is a lot of hype right around it. And the price kind of started at, I think, around $300, and then it basically went down because they launched in the bull market. And just like the coins that we see launch in a bull market, basically there's just a liquidity drain that goes on there, and the price goes down. Is that going to happen with Gemini? I don't know. Gemini is not the Coinbase. It's not as popular as Coinbase. It's not as widely known as Coinbase, but they do have a lot of regulatory approvals around the world. They do custody for large institutions. And so this could be really big, and we'll have to kind of keep our eye on this and see what happens here. We're also seeing more expansion around the world. Gemini Crypto Exchange adds USD payment rails for European institutions. After rolling out US dollar payment support for institutional customers in the UK and Switzerland, Gemini plans to scale the feature across the EU and the EEAA in the coming weeks. Now, the only thing that Gemini doesn't have that Coinbase does is Coinbase looks at stablecoins one-to-one. So if you, one-to-one with the dollar. So if you deposit $1 in Coinbase, they consider it USD or USDC. There's no conversion rate. There's no fees for converting it to the stablecoin. They just consider it the same thing. I've even heard stories about people who go to withdraw to their bank, not realizing that Coinbase considers the stable coin the same, and they withdraw their USDC, and they think they're actually withdrawing USDC to the bank. Because it's backed by dollars, it's considered the same thing. From a liquidity standpoint, Gemini doesn't yet have that. A lot of the exchanges actually don't have that, where if you just wanted to bring money on chain and then move it from a stable coin, you have to buy into the stable coin. One way or another, you have to buy into the stablecoin. And I think Coinbase is the only exchange that you don't have to do that with. Anyway, moving right along, we are now also hearing that Bitwise, the crypto ETF and other fund investment firm, is launching ETFs of firms holding over 1,000 Bitcoin, and Strategy or MicroStrategy takes a 20% weighting. So this is very interesting, and I was actually shocked by one of the participants of this ETF, one of the participants that I've been covering extensively on this channel. But before we get there, Bitwise introduces the new ETF called Own B, like Own Bitcoin, that tracks publicly traded companies holding at least 1,000 Bitcoin. This ETF will rebalance quarterly with top holdings including Strategy, Marathon Holdings, and Clean Spark. Bitwise launched this ETF basically, I would guess, to kind of promote this Bitcoin strategy or Bitcoin treasury strategy for these companies. This index follows specific rules. One, companies must hold a minimum of 1,000 Bitcoin with holdings weighted based on the amount of Bitcoin owned, and the largest holding capped at 20%, while companies with less than 33% of their assets in Bitcoin are weighted at 1.5%. This index will rebalance quarterly. Now, if you go to the actual Bitwise website with this announcement, they have a little bit more details. This is where I was surprised, where I probably shouldn't have been with all the research that I've done on this specific stock, but let's kind of talk about it. Anyway, so this ETF is going to be tracking companies with 1,000 Bitcoin in their corporate treasuries or more. At launch, the top 10 holdings of the index were here, and we're going to go through them. Obviously, MicroStrategy, 20.8% of this ETF. Marathon Holdings is 12%. Clean Spark is 6%, Riot Platforms 6%. Now these, everybody kind of knows they're holding large quantities of Bitcoin. These are the megas. These are the mega stocks in the crypto world. Boya Interactive. Now this is a Hong Kong-based company, never even heard of it, so I don't know anything about it. Metaplanet is similar. They've been kind of getting a lot of press for having a similar strategy to MicroStrategy. Acre, ASA, never heard of that either, and then Bitfarms, and then Bitfufu and Galaxy Digital. Now, Bitfarms surprised me because I've been following this company very closely, and I really don't think I've ever researched what they hold in Bitcoin, because at the end of the day, Bitfarms is what is considered a microcap stock, right? It has 757 Canadian, which is about $500 million US as a market cap. Very, very low. Only $1.16 for the actual stock when I'm recording this video. But if you actually go to the Bitfarms website, you can see securing our place in the world of Bitcoin. Bitfarms hashes with power and expertise. 1,118 Bitcoin are held at Bitfarms. This was as of October 31, 2024. So this may have changed a bit, but they're holding over 1,000 Bitcoin. Okay. So if we do the math on that, 1,118 Bitcoin times about $80,000, the price when I'm recording this video, it's about $90 million in Bitcoin. And their entire market cap is 500 million. And they're about to close a Stronghold SDIG acquisition. So listen, $1.16 on the stock, even more bullish now that it's part of this ETF, because now the ETF has to buy the stock. And any ETF or wrapper that follows this strategy will also be buying the stock. And so I'm very excited, very happy to see Bitfarms in this ETF. This adds more legitimacy to the company as a large Bitcoin mining company. 20% of it is owned by Riot Platforms. And so, yeah, I mean, when we're talking about bull indicators in the market, life-changing trades in the market, Bitfarms, in my view, is one of those. We talked about this during the previous bear market 2023 when Core Scientific was going bankrupt. The stock went down to 5 cents. Now, granted, this was pre the new stock being issued. So the new stock being issued from the old stock, from my understanding, was 10 to 1. If you own 10 shares of the old stock, you get 1 share of the new one. So at 5 cents, you just basically multiply it by 10 to kind of get the adjusted price. It would be 50 cents. So if you bought 50 cents on Core Scientific went all the way up to, I think, $15 or $20, something like that. This is CORZ. And this, again, this was the new the new stock. But yeah, you can see it went from $3 all the way up to $18. So if you bought in at 50 cents, we're really 5 cents pre, 50 cents to $15, that's 30x. 30x. And so when I see a trade like Bitfarms, I believe personally that this could be a potentially life-changing trade outside of the crypto space, because they do have significant hash rate, especially bringing Stronghold Digital, acquiring that company. That's giving them an additional 5 exahashes per second. So their total mining rate is about 20 to 21 exahashes per second and growing. They're continuing to expand it within the United States. I think the CEO was just on Bloomberg from Bitfarms the other day talking about the company. He did an all right job. I think that he could have definitely highlighted Bitfarms and what Bitfarms is doing a little bit more. But the conversation was really more about the overall Bitcoin mining space and energy, right? The kind of the move to high compute and how much energy that actually needs, and how the Bitcoin miners and Bitcoin mining companies are kind of well positioned because they have all of this access to energy and sometimes produce their own energy to continue to mine Bitcoin. Anyway, let's get back to Cardano. So as we talked about in the beginning of this video, there's a lot of bull indicators for Cardano. I'm also watching a lot of YouTubers, not in the Cardano ecosystem, right? Not Cardano YouTubers, like regular trading YouTubers. And a lot of them have been talking about Cardano recently. But what does this actually mean, right? We have high volatility. Over here, we're hearing Cardano price climbs, but the volume dips, right? Cardano price gained at the time of this writing, marking increase. The daily trade volume, though, was down 26%. as nearly $1.5 billion in Cardano was traded. Typically, a decline in volume is indicative of traders losing interest or waning demand. Cardano declined 22% in the last 7 days, and the total market capitalization came out to about $25 billion. And so this piece is really important, right? Because when people see price go up, they're like, oh my God, we're so bullish, we're so bullish. We have had a lot of caution in Cardano, in XRP, in Solana on this channel as of recent, right? From the middle of February to the middle of March, right? A lot of this caution has been because, after the potential reserve announcement, right, when they were saying XRP, Solana, Cardano, add this to the reserve, the prices moved up very rapidly, but then they corrected down very rapidly as well. And in my video that I did after that announcement about all of these coins, I think it was called JP Morgan says no XRP or Cardano, because the big institutions don't believe that XRP, Solana, or Cardano are going to be part of any ETF at a large scale, similar to Bitcoin, at least not right now. It may be in the future, but not right now. Right now, the big institutions, the banks, they're looking at Bitcoin and maybe Ethereum. That's pretty much it. And so when we're looking at Cardano, we do have to understand the dynamics involved here, right? Because volatility is increasing, price is going up, but volume is going down. And so for the price to keep going up effectively, right, when you're thinking about supply demand, and this goes for any coin, not just Cardano, but when you're thinking about the price going up, the price has to go up, correct a little bit, keep going up, but there has to be buying going on. And so a lot of the anticipation, a lot of the moves to the upside that we've seen, and the same thing is going on with XRP. Same thing happened with Solana. I mean, guys, Solana went higher in price from $8 to $250 and outperformed every other crypto in the market from a percentage standpoint. Because at the beginning of the bull market, when we were approaching the Bitcoin halving, everybody was anticipating that Solana was going to have new technology released, new technologies, new adoption, new companies using the Solana blockchain, other ecosystems moving to Solana. And what did we get? We got meme coins. And what happened? The price immediately dropped because people said, no. Like, I cannot make money in this. I'm not buying, I'm selling. And then we saw a lot of exiting from the Solana meme coins, but nobody was buying. And so what happened to the price? Cratered, right? We're down 50% just in the last 6 months. Now, the same thing can happen with XRP, right? Because the price of XRP corrected up rapidly after the Trump presidency. And so why did it jump up after the Trump presidency? Well, as I've theorized on my channel, I think that some of it was just adjusting because XRP did not perform during the 2020-2021 cycle, probably because they were being sued by the SEC and everybody was kind of nervous about that. So there's a potential that XRP was correcting to kind of just get to where it should be currently. But there's also a potential that this, as many call it, the Trump pump, this move after Trump became president, this move was a speculative move, anticipating that XRP would soon make announcements of integration with the US government or the US banking system, or that banks around the world would now adopt XRP as a payment processing crypto. But this may not actually come to fruition. We may not see any of that occur, right? We may not see it be part of the reserve, be part of financial institutions, banks picking it up, governments picking it up. We may not see any of that happen. And if that doesn't happen, and this move was moved to the upside based on that speculation that something would happen with XRP, guess what's going to happen with the XRP? Big drop. Now, when we're talking about Cardano, a lot of people would argue that Cardano, a lot of it is based on hype and promises, right? We're going to do this. We're going to release this. We're at the hard fork. We're about to do another hard fork. We're about to upgrade the system. We're about to enhance the technology features. But those things are not realized. But those things may not have actually occurred yet. And that's one of the issues with Cardano. A lot of the price movements that we've seen historically and in the near term have been due to speculative moves, right? We're going to do this. We're potentially going to have this company signing on board, this country signing on board. But there's a lot of the moves in Cardano is not based on new money coming in, right? New investors, new large scale users of the product. This is very different this cycle, guys, because ultimately the companies or the projects that get usage, this is what is going to drive higher. This is why we've been talking a lot about World Liberty Finance, because World Liberty Finance. So with World Liberty Finance, we know where the money is going to be flowing, right? Whether it's forever or whether it's just in the near term, like we know where the money is flowing. So all of this other expectations of XRP, Solana, Cardano in this reserve or part of, banking finance, whether it's going to happen or not, I don't know. I really don't know. And this brings up to the why I'm saying Cardano's bull indicator caution. Now, again, there's going to be people who dislike this video. There's going to be people in the comments, Cryptoviser, you don't know what you're talking about. Cardano's bullish, all this bullshit, right? At the end of the day, guys, you can see from that crypto reserve pump that there was no strength in the pump at all, period. Okay, so what does that tell me? When there's no strength in a pump, right, you can see we went from 64 cents up to almost doubled, right? Up to $1.13 and then right back down. What does that mean when it comes right back down? People are selling their coins. They're selling. And they're going to be selling into any pump. So what does this mean? Who is actually selling at 72 cents or $1.12, right? Because we've been kind of sitting in this range for quite a while now, right? We've been sitting in this under dollar range for quite a while. So who's selling as soon as we get over $1? Well, it's the traders, right? All of these people on YouTube and Twitter and all these social media saying, oh, Cardano is going to pump, Cardano's going to pump, Cardano's going to pump. And they're not Cardano fanboys, right? They're just traders in the market. They're playing the market. So when they say, oh, Cardano's going to pump, Cardano's going to pump, Cardano's going to pump, guess what? When Cardano pumps, they are selling. They're not holding forever. And so these moves to the upside are going to be harder and harder and harder to get more strength in. Now, this doesn't mean we're not going to all-time record highs, but as I've explained over the last few years, I think that there's going to be a lot of, it's going to be way harder from a technical standpoint for Cardano to reach its all-time record high this cycle than it was last cycle for many different reasons, many that we have explored and kind of laid out on this channel. And so this caution that we're talking about in Cardano's bull indicator, it's not just for Cardano, it's also for Solana. Because right now, Solana is in a downtrend. And in the downtrend, any little pump, people are going to be all excited about, right? Look at this pump right here. I think this was when they said the reserve announcement. It was immediately sold off because the people who were selling their Solana before the crypto reserve announcement, they were still selling after the crypto reserve announcement. So that little jump right there didn't take any effect, right? Immediately straight back down to where we were. So that's Solana, Cardano, and let's take a look at XRP. XRP, I think, again, is a little bit different because there is a lot of anticipation based on what Ripple wanted to do with XRP over the years, and they just couldn't because of the SEC and other regulators. But again, look right here, right? A jump from effectively $2 all the way up to $2.90, so right, a 50% increase, and then immediately right back down. So those bull indicators, while yes, there was a lot to take into account there, there was no actual strength in this volatility, right? So when you see, like what we talked about at the beginning of this video, the 60-day volatility is increasing in these coins. Yes, this could be a good thing if you're holding the coin, because the price could go up very, very rapidly, very, very harshly in a very short period of time. This is the indicator to sell the coin. Now, again, I'm telling you from a technical trading perspective, not financial advice. Do your own research. Whatever you do in your portfolio, this is your decision. But I don't think that this volume decrease that we're seeing in Cardano, right? Everyone, look at the comments on the videos. They'll be like, but Cryptoviser, Cardano's doing X, Y, and Z. Oh, Cryptoviser, what do you mean Cardano doesn't have any volume? Look at how many users we have. It's like, who is actually using it? Like with Ethereum, I could say World Liberty Finance is buying. With Ethereum, the ETFs are buying. With Ethereum, they're building on chain. With Ethereum, JP Morgan uses the chain. They test on the chain. They built their own chain based on Ethereum's chain. With Bitcoin, we know MicroStrategy is buying as a treasury reserve asset. We know crypto exchanges use it to transact in large sums of money. We know the ETFs are buying it. We know that there's payment rails around the world that are going to be using Bitcoin for like, I can tell you specific examples of companies users, banks around the world that are using these technologies. And people just say, but Cardano's losing volume just because we're in a corrective phase, and it isn't. People are still using the chain. It's like who is using the chain, right? It's the same thing for Solana. Besides the meme coins, who is using the chain? And so we see things like this, Cardano Prime for major breakout, but it must hold key support above 80 cents. And so far, it has not been able to maintain. So in my view, there's still a lot of caution, right? Can we go higher? Absolutely. Will we go higher? Potentially, I don't know. But there is going to be so much pressure on these 30, 40, 50% moves to the upside from the traders and the speculators that they just want that 30, 40, or 50%. And they're willing to sell it on to you, who's all excited and like, oh, Cardano's going higher. I'm going to buy more. I'm going to buy more. We're going to go higher. I'm going to buy more. You're buying it from them who are selling and getting out of the coin. And then nobody else is going to be buying the coin besides you. And then when you go to sell it, nobody's going to be there to buy it because you're not buying anymore. And the coin drops. And this is where we're going to be in a very, very deep bear market at some point. I don't know when it is. I don't know that. I'm not saying that we're in it right now. I'm not saying that we're going into it, but we will eventually. And the same thing is going to happen for many of these different coins, right? Right now, Ethereum is under $2,000. It goes to 5,000, 6,000. People are going to get all excited, say we're going to 20,000, 30, 40, 50,000. Keep raising their price targets. Keep moving that goalpost. But at the end of the day, the goalpost can keep getting moved, but eventually we're going to be in a bear market, right? Eventually the market's going to rotate. I believe that we're rotating into the final stages of the bull market. And so in my view, this is the final opportunity to buy what you want to buy. And the next pump is the opportunity to sell what you want to sell. It doesn't mean that we're not going to go higher after this next pump. It's just saying based on the macroeconomic factors that we've covered on this channel, we are reaching towards the end. I mean, just go back to the charts and look at where Coinbase announced or was IPOing, and then look at what happened to the stock after the IPO. Look at what happened to the crypto market after the IPO, right? All this hype, all this excitement was kind of came to fruition at this one point, and then boom, everything started to crater. And so, yeah, there is a lot of caution. The SEC is delaying decisions on the XRP, Solana, Litecoin, and Dogecoin ETFs. Everybody was freaking out, saying, oh my God, they put a Dogecoin ETF in. Yes, Dogecoin to the moon. Solana's getting their ETF, XRP's getting the ETF, and nothing has been approved. Nothing. Now, will it be approved? Highly likely, right? But remember what happens when these coins, like everyone gets all excited with the Bitcoin ETFs. People were saying, oh, all these ETF issuers are buying Bitcoin. You know, they're taking up all the supply. Most of the Bitcoin that the ETF issuers bought, they bought it directly from Grayscale because Grayscale significantly decreased the size of their portfolio by hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin. The Bitcoin went just straight into other ETFs to diversify the portfolio. So, yeah, I mean, you guys really have to look at this, this whole situation in the markets with these bull indicators and just be 1, 2, 3 steps ahead of the market. That's why we're talking right now is probably the most bullish part of this cycle that you could be, right? Because we haven't seen really in most of the coins, the banana zone, as Raoul Pal calls it, or the straight up. We haven't seen this. We've seen it in a few coins, Solana, XRP, that's basically it. Even Bitcoin a little bit, but we haven't really seen major speculative craze. And this is really important to understand because we are approaching that. But the reason I feel like the videos are becoming a little bearish is because you have to be in the mindset, again, ahead of the market. So if the market is rotating into a bull market, you need to rotate your mindset into a bear market. That way, when we do go higher, you have the mindset of, oh, we're going to be in a bear market very shortly. Let me sell. There's going to be a lot of holders again, guys. And some of these holders, here's the issue. Some of these coins will not be around next cycle, and some of these coins will not be at the level they're at next cycle because they just cannot keep up, right? So if you are still holding onto a coin that reaches its all-time record high again this cycle, it may not reach it next cycle. It may just go into oblivion. Especially, there is a lot of money entering the crypto space, in the blockchain space, and investing in these protocols. And the blockchains that keep talking and saying, we're going to do this, 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 and they don't have anything to show for it, it's not going to last, because now you have World Liberty Finance. Now you have governments. Now you have companies that are going to be investing in them. And they're going to be putting the money where the technology is, not where the technology is going to be. The big money that had put their money where the technology is going to be, they already put it there. And guess where it is? It's in Ethereum and it's in Bitcoin. That's it. That's it. Solana, I believe all the billionaires are draining their funds out of Solana immediately, especially when you see a great opportunity like Ethereum under $2,000 when it still hasn't reached its all-time record high. So this is my kind of viewpoint of the market and viewpoint of kind of where these markets are going and kind of how to kind of assess it all, right? And that brings us to this. Starknet is going to settle on Bitcoin and Ethereum to unify the chains. Ethereum Layer 2, Starknet is laying down groundwork to settle on Bitcoin and Ethereum to unify the two largest blockchains on a single layer. Now, we've covered Starknet previously. This is a fairly new coin. Starknet Foundation said in their Bitcoin roadmap that it's aiming for Starknet to become Bitcoin execution layer, scaling it from 13 transactions per second to thousands, reducing blocks and gas fees and creating a better user experience. The foundation for Starknet said most Bitcoin today sits static in wallets and exchanges, constrained by the limitations of the network's original design, a lack of scalability, and an inability to natively support applications beyond simple buying, selling, and transferring. It added that while some investors view Bitcoin as digital gold, they believe there is a demand for utilizing Bitcoin for purposes beyond that. Again, there are still chains that have no interoperability, period. Like no interoperability that anybody uses, no major change, no major bridges, no interoperability to the rest of the crypto ecosystem. And you have Starknet that's going to be settling on Bitcoin and Ethereum. You tell me which cryptos are going to be the winners and which are going to be the losers. In my view, Starknet is going to be a winner, right? We've talked about Starknet on this video before, because what they're doing is very different than what a lot of these other ecosystems are trying to achieve. But here's the issue. If Starknet doesn't achieve any of this, bye-bye, right? It's going to zero. And only time will tell, but, is it worth the risk? That's for you to decide. Let me know down below what you think about everything we discussed today. Do you think that there should be caution in the Cardano bull market indicators? What about Bitcoin and Ethereum flashing potentially at their bottom? And everything we talked about in this video is basically life-changing trades, potentially, depending on where you put your money, when you put it there, and then what you do once you're holding the actual crypto. Because it doesn't matter, you could own a property, you could own a home that goes up in value and you become a multimillionaire. But if you don't sell that house and the prices go straight back down, it was all on paper, guys. It was all on paper. And the same thing can happen in crypto, just at a much faster pace. So make sure you are taking profits, you have a strategy, and do your own research. Let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you when I see you crypto on.